How is everyone doing? I'm gonna be implementing quality of life improvements tonight with your help. I see that a bunch of people are here. I'm pretty sure that you're going to keep me busy. So let's get right to it. Here is a short list of stuff that I put together myself. Some of them I already implemented in the last few days. I have a few quite interesting ones for tonight. They are both interesting from the player's point of view, and also I think the implementation is going to be fun for you to watch. So perhaps if you have any suggestions of your own, maybe you can type them into the chat. And I'll start with one of the things from here, just to warm up my hands a little bit. Maybe something easy for the beginning. Make weapon enchantment scrolls also work on ranged weapons. This is definitely worthy of implementing, and it's also not going to be very difficult. So let's start with that. It seems like there is quite a delay from what I'm looking at YouTube, so I will be responding a bit late from your point of view. I hope that's fine. So Rarasek is right into it. Let's see. Be able to smelt everything that is, for example, iron. Do not smelt artifacts if wood burn in the furnace. Do not create item. If you would drown the item, move it instead. Yeah, that's very important. I'm gonna just copy it into my list. Oh, nice background. Double click to select a vein to be mined. Oh yeah, that's a really good idea. Okay, I'm not sure what the delay is. I think maybe the YouTube studio is showing me wrong, so I don't know exactly what the delay is. Maybe it's a bit smaller than I thought. Anyway, let's keep going. In the beginning, selecting retired keepers have their vanilla keepers only option, so you can select those that were created without mods. Yeah, maybe, why not? Maybe I don't think it's that important. In the villains menu, if you have discovered a location of tribe, have a hint where, for example, humans are. Okay. I need to look at the UI, what it looks like and what can be added there. but let's note it down. Making the mod load order visible and editable in the mods tab. No, it's not too hard to implement. I can I can definitely think about it. Let's copy it. Tiles for spells, not just symbols. Yeah, I don't know. That's not so important, I think. That's more for mods, right? So I think I'll focus on vanilla improvements for tonight, just to be, you know, more focused. Yeah, okay, so we have a few things, but I will start with this weapon enchantment. It's has been suggested by a player anyway, so it's not like I'm implementing my own ideas. So we have this effect called enhance. It can enhance either weapon or armor. It looks like there are 12 people on the stream. That's just amazing for me. Thank you all for coming. Enhance weapon. Okay, so we have this kind of function. As you see, it's pretty straightforward. It looks for a weapon. It only looks for the first weapon, actually. So I think there is also another hidden feature needed here, that it can enchant if the creature has more weapons equipped than one, then it should probably randomly pick one of them, not just the first one. Okay, so we have items. Let's get all the weapons, and then we will add also all the ranged weapons, because they live in a different slot in the equipment. Hello, President Ralph. Most of you in the chat I don't know, or I don't know your nicknames. Perhaps some of you are regular Discord users, but under different nicknames. So forgive me if I don't recognize you. Okay, so items right now contains both weapons and ranged weapons. Now let's check if they are not empty. I hope you guys can see the code well. Sorry if my keyboard is too loud. Okay, that looks like this is it. Let's give it a quick test. Okay, I have my weapon. I have a short bow. Oh, right. Yeah, already. Rarasek has found a bug. That's definitely something that needs fixing. Yeah, adds modifier, weapon info. Actually, it would even crash. So because non-weapons, ranged weapons are not weapons. Those are only melee weapons, and they don't have this structure, so it would crash, I think. Maybe not. So no, it wouldn't. Okay. Oh, there's another bug that was kind of hidden. No, okay, no, sorry. Never mind. Let's see how this works out. I'm gonna create a bunch of enchantment scrolls. let's see what they do. Okay, your short bow is improved. Another one. Another one. Wooden staff is improved. Let's add another weapon. I'm going to increase the multi-weapon attribute of my keeper. And now I'm going to add a sword. Okay, and let's run a few more weapon and enchantment scrolls. Sword is improved, short bow is improved, wooden staff is improved. Okay, fantastic. So this is done. So about the quitting the game while the death screen is on, this is kind of on purpose. KeeperRL waits until the very last moment before removing your save file in case there are some kind of issues and your save is corrupted. So I don't think it's a big deal, you know, there are ways to save scam anyway if someone wants to do it, so I don't feel like I need to make it very hard for people. If you want to do it, you're gonna do it. Portals do work across Z levels. Okay, let's commit that change. Alright, so one is done. Now I'm properly warmed up. So maybe I can do something a little bit harder. Do not create item. If you would drown that item, move it instead. Yeah, okay, that's actually also pretty easy. So why not do it? Let's get the easy stuff out of our way. I'm going to find the little piece of code that places items, and it's somewhere here. So right now the only position where that item could be placed is right where the creature is located, and of course this is going to pose some problems when the creature is flying or levitating over water. Also, another issue is if that creature is outside of your territory, then that item will also be dropped there and it won't be ever picked up by anyone unless you claim that tile or unless you issue a fetch items order. So there needs to be some kind of clever solution around this. You know, there is always a possibility that there will be no appropriate position to drop that item, and I think the game needs to handle that at least without crashing. That would be rather important, even in that very worst case scenario. So I need to think up something that will be quite robust. Perhaps one solution could be putting that item in that creature's inventory. I think if I do that, then the creature will automatically go and drop that item into equipment storage. So that could be quite clever. On the other hand, what if that creature is overloaded and carrying too many items already? Then it's possible that there could also be a crash. So yeah, I don't know. I think that will be quite elegant, because if you think about it, the goblins or whatever crafting creatures, when they craft something, just dropping that item on the floor is kind of not very, I don't know. It doesn't feel like that would happen in real life, right? So no, this won't interfere with dropping items manually. This is only when an item is created while the creature is crafting. Yeah, I'm gonna put that item into that creature's possession. Let's see how that works out. I think it could be quite elegant. I need to figure out how to give an item to a creature properly. I'm sure there is a function for that, but I don't remember. Creature, get equipment, add items. All right. Add item. Add item. Seems like there is no check here if the item is too heavy, so maybe that won't be an issue. Come on, what's going on here? Add item. Add item. Oh, okay. So if I just do it like that, then there won't be ever oh, there's one function. Oh, owned effects. Maybe, perhaps it isn't always good that the crafter gets that item. I don't know. Perhaps when that item is made of Infernium, then that creature would be wounded. Yeah, I don't know. You know, this in KeeperRL, when you add new features, there's always this butterfly effect of things that can happen. So it seems like there's no failure state here with this solution. So I can just comment this one out. And let's see how it works. It looks like there are a lot of people watching the stream. If that's true, then I'm super happy. It's really nice that all of you came. Oh, I have a little bit of water here. So let's create a workshop next to water. Forbid all these extra positions around it. Make them fly. Now we have flying goblins. Not very realistic, but that will work to test everything. Now I'm going to save the game just in case something crashes. Yeah, so there is a possibility of abusing Krakens for creature experience. I'll add that to the list. I guess it's because Krakens can spawn infinite limbs, but I think it's anyway. It's experience should be granted just for the Kraken's head, right? All right. So our goblins are crafting. I'm going to create a storage here. Okay, they have finished crafting. Okay, and they have equipped the clubs. So that's not very good. Oh, this guy has equipped 2 clubs? That's weird. I think that's a glitch in the user interface. So it seems like the goblins took ownership of the clubs. Yeah, so he dropped one of his clubs, but the other clubs, they have assumed ownership. So that's not what we wanted, right? I'm not sure how the game did that. These only got permanent effects. This one... Huh. Try to own. So somewhere a piece of code calls this function, which assigns the item to a creature's to a creature, because in KeeperRL, if a creature is carrying an item, it doesn't necessarily own it. Perhaps it's just a worker carrying an item to storage, right? So this should be the same thing here. But somehow the game assumes that those goblins should own those clubs. Huh. See, if I removed it from his ownership, then he went and dropped it. Or did he? Yeah. Or maybe they already came with their own clubs. Yeah, okay. You know what? I'll make them craft cornuthorns, because the clubs are confusing. Okay, here we go. Yeah, okay, so they went and dropped them. So it wasn't that they owned them. They already had their own clubs before, and I thought that those were the ones that they crafted. So it seems that this code is working fine. Now I have to think of any possible bad ramifications of this. yes, we can try dropping them into the water. This absolutely shouldn't cause any issues. Okay, this water is too shallow. Can drop it here. Okay, so no, it's still shallow water. I can go and look for deeper water here somewhere. Okay, this water, this one has to be deep, yeah. The club sinks in the water, so that's fine. Yeah, I don't know, it's a nice feature to add, but I have a bad feeling that something will go wrong with it and crash the game or cause something weird to happen. But I think I'm going to just leave this for now, and before releasing the update I'm going to test the game quite a bit anyway, so if there are any issues involving that change, I think they're gonna pop up and I will notice that, so let's just leave it for now. Alrighty then, what's next? Double click to select a vein to be mined. Yeah, that would be cool. I've always wanted to add a way to select the whole mine. Just never really got around to it. But I have to think whether double click is really the best option. Yeah, I'm seeing comments that Kraken farming should be left in the game. Perhaps, I don't know. I mean, I used to, back when I played NetHack a lot, I used to do padding farming. I don't know if any of you has played NetHack and remembers that, but it was exploitative, but it was kind of fun, and you know, it was just another tricky thing that you could do in the game, and you know, be creative. So yeah, I don't see any reason to remove this. I know I'm not crazy about balance and stuff like that. The game has to be fun, so. Yeah, let's get into the digging selection. I think KeeperRL doesn't really have a concept of double click in the user interface, so I'm wondering if it just should always select the whole vein by default, but maybe that's not such a good idea, because sometimes you don't want to mine the whole thing out. I'm gonna go into the user interface code and see what kind of clicks what type of clicking exists in Keeper's user interface besides just regular left clicks. Perhaps it could be possible to use something like a control click or something like that. Right click exists for sure, like for locking doors and stuff like that. So I think right click would be quite simple to implement. Let's see. And then of course I could add some kind of hint. Yes, and I also of course remember about Steam Deck. I think, yeah, I don't know how do you lock doors on Steam Deck? I don't remember anymore. My Steam Deck is bricked and I haven't used it for like a couple of years, so I don't really remember, but of course I'm going to test this feature. Okay, let's see if I can find the code that locks a door. Click type lock. Okay, so let's go to furniture click lock. Yeah, so I think I can just add another click type here. And this should pretty much work out of the box. And then once I implement it, I can give it a try and see how it feels to select these veins and see if there is another solution. Probably shouldn't call it vein because there is no. It's not really a vein. Alright, I'm gonna have to make that function public. It's a bit of a hack, but at this stage of game development, I think it's alright for the code to be not so elegant anymore. Okay, now I have to kind of flood fill the entire resource patch recursively. So if that position is already selected, then we have nothing else to do. Otherwise, we mark it. Oh, there's also possible that we have to deselect it. But yeah, it seems like this function takes care of that, so that's really good. And now I have to look around. And see if there are any similar minerals in the neighboring positions. Now, how do I check that? So if we found the same resource next to us, then we call this function recursively. And that's it, hopefully. Let's see how this is going to work. Now I'm also adding the tooltip, so that if you hover your mouse over the patch, then hopefully there will be some information presented about this kind of action that you can do. I'm going to test it in a moment. Just need to add the text in English and in Polish, because KeeperRL for this patch is going to be translated to Polish. Okay, and now iron ore, click, no, not item. Let's give it a quick test, and the most important thing is to figure out if the user interface is fine, if that right-clicking is going to work out, or if we need to find out a different solution. And then after that, I'll focus on the implementation a little bit more. Oh, furniture, click. Oh. Because while controlling a creature, you can also click on something. And in this case, it kind of doesn't make sense to select the resource patches. So I'm going to add to pass null through here, and then I should just check. All right. There's a big chance that this will just fail completely, so let's see. Okay, nothing about clicking. No, it doesn't work. No. Oh, I think I need to start the game from scratch. No, that still doesn't work. Yeah, so one issue is that right-clicking deselects the order, right? So if I right-click, it goes back, closes that digging order, so that's a little bit of an interference. I should have checked that before I started implementing. Okay, it's not registering those clicks in that function, at least. Oh, right, so we have a check for whether this position is in our territory. Okay, let's give it a quick hack and just I feel like right-clicking is not going to work anyway. Maybe double clicking was a better idea. Still doesn't work. Did I compile? I think this is triggered by right click. Maybe it's not. No, that's left click. I don't know what's going on here. How do you close doors? I mean lock doors. No, it's just so I was completely wrong about this. It used to be, I think, right click, but it's not anymore. So you just lock doors using regular left click, and perhaps, oh right, here, there you go. You can just select the whole thing. Except that digging has stopped working at this point. Yeah, I think double click was a better idea from the beginning. I should have started with that. All right. I'm gonna add the previous change. I should have done a little bit more research before diving into implementation, because that's a little bit of wasted time. Okay, let's see how I could implement double click. I don't really use timing. I don't use the concept of real time in the game logic itself, only in the user interface mostly. So I'm not sure if I should check for double clicks in the game logic or in the user interface. I think it's better to do it here. So I'll add another click type here. The crafters will always, instead of placing the item on the floor, the game will just give the item to the crafter, always. And the crafter, the way logging items is implemented right now is the crafter will immediately, after crafting the item, will go and drop it into the equipment storage. Right now I'm implementing a little bit of logic to check that we have a double click. So just a second. I have to figure out some kind of cutoff interval. I don't know, I think it's something like 300 milliseconds was probably about right, and then I can tweak that later. Alright, let's see if the game can register the double click, and then we will go from there. Uh-oh. Crash. Yeah. Okay, registers. No, I think it's register is even. No, it registers every click as a double click. That's not very good. Oh, Okay, I just swapped these around. Yeah, okay, now it's working. And then I guess it would be nice to recover that little function from here. Ah, right, here it is. So furniture has this property called is clear fog of war. So this is attached to resources so that you can see them even if they aren't in your field of view. So I think I could, as a hack, I could use that to see if we should select the whole resource patch. my Steam Deck bricked itself when it was applying an update or something, but it can be factory reset, so it's not broken, but it requires some steps to be taken, and I never got around to it. Alright, if F oh wow, look at that. Okay, now single click doesn't work, but this is really nice. Oh, now it again. Now it crashed. So that's fun stuff. Not sure what happened here. Yeah, I mean, it, even though it crashed, it kind of felt quite good to double click on that mineral patch. So I think in this sense that it's a small success. I think it's gonna work out. So let's just figure out this bug. So it didn't want to. Oh, what's going on there? Okay, so this works. This works. Double click. Doesn't work. Oh. Okay, so it only works if there's no digging order selected. Okay, so that's, yeah, I know. So this is the wrong place to implement this, because when you have a digging order selected, and it's not this function that it's not this what's going on here. It's some other function is called. So I'm a bit closer than last time, but still wrong. Okay, so this function should be fine. What, do you guys need a coffee break? What was that function called? Add resource recursively. Yeah, maybe I'm gonna do a break. We will see. I'll do it when I get tired. Or maybe I'll just keep going until I get tired and then I'll finish the stream. We will see. Okay, double click doesn't work. Let's put a breakpoint in the debugger and then we will see what happens. Okay, never reached the breakpoint. I don't know, it should work, I think. Okay, so here we have double click. So this part of the code works fine, but it never reaches this part. I don't know why. Okay. I don't know what's going on here. Okay, they do register the clicks. I probably checked it wrong. They have digging selected. That's why it didn't register. Okay, so oh yeah, I know what's going on. So this order, when you have digging selected, this particular order doesn't have, it's not actually dig, but it's a chain of dig and cut tree, so it's actually a chain. So that's this thing. What I did here is not what I was supposed to do. Okay, let's just do a hack for now. Yeah, so it's like similar to like how effects work. You can chain commands, so then the top level command is called chain, and then if you want to find dig, then you have to look inside of it. Okay, still not working. Yeah, first register is a single click. And then a double click. Yeah, maybe, you know, when you do the double click, it registers a single click first. It selects that position, and then it registers the double click. And then all it does is probably deselect that because it's doing float fill, right? So we maybe have to do it. No, how to do it? The first we kind of have to undo the first selection of the single tile when the single click was registered. Maybe I just have to run the order again to undo the previous one. I don't know. Let's see if this is gonna work. This is getting kind of complicated at this point. That's what playing with user interface is like. It seems like, oh, just a double click, but then stuff gets complex really quickly. Oh, crash. Okay, so we have infinite recursion. So was selected. So if we click the first time, we have it selected. We deselect. This one is false. This one is true. No, I don't know what's going on. Mm-hmm. Still crashing. Oh, this worked. Okay. So it's almost working. There's one thing that breaks. What was that? Okay, a couple of things that still break. Yeah, seems like maybe it's trying to select the whole map or something. Yeah, I never really check whether, yeah, exactly. So we have double click and Well, this is pretty good. Yeah. So it ignores the double clicks when they aren't placed on the mineral patch, and it's, I think, should work for all the mineral patches. Let's see if probably shouldn't work for trees anyway. Yeah, that's the right outcome, but it should work for all the other. What? How come this was already selected? Oh, maybe I was testing it already on that level. Oh, segmentation fault again. Okay, another recursive, infinite recursion. Not sure what's going on here. I think the mushroom trees should be just the same type of furniture, right? So why would it go into infinite recursion? Oh, because we're not digging here. We are, for the trees, we are cutting them. So it's, in terms of trying out the idea, this works quite well, but when it comes to a proper implementation, I think it's getting a bit iffy. So perhaps I'm going to leave this, and I won't be boring you with, you know, little implementation details, because sometimes it's tricky and just takes a little bit of time to implement it, to implement properly, and we can just assume that this problem is solved at least as a concept, and then just move on to something else. So selecting vanilla keepers only, I think it's not, I don't know, I'll try to do something else maybe. Oh, you know what, I have a good one that I like. So there's this thing in Keeper where there's this inconvenience, or you could even call it a bug, where certain tasks, when you select them, when you order them, the appropriate activity goes back to idle right away. And I think it's for being whipped, execution, and torture, and maybe something else. I'm gonna show you in a moment. So I'm gonna build a whipping post. And the goblin is gonna be doing something wherever, hanging out, and we select being whipped. And now we unpause the game, and it immediately turns back to idle, even though the goblin still has this task to get to be whipped. But it's like it's a bad user experience where you oh game crashed again. I probably double clicked or something. Sorry. I'm gonna turn this off for now. So who is still here? Who's hearing me? Say something in the chat box. YouTube claims that there are 17 people watching, but they're not really active, so. Okay, here you are. Thanks for coming. It's fantastic that so many people are interested in these little features. Okay, so I'll try to show you what the problem is again. Okay, let's imagine that we have some kind of big dungeon and this goblin is doing something, whatever, maybe just, walking around. And I'm gonna leave the game on slow. We decided to give him a little whipping. So I click being whipped. And he goes straight for the whipping post, but the activity goes back to idle right away. So when you're playing and you're not aware of this little bug, then you might think that your order didn't do anything, and it's bad experience. And also, let's say if let's say that this whipping order is not possible right now. So the goblin will just stop doing it. So I do it again. Oh, now, okay, now it's grayed out, but if for any reason, if this task is unsuccessful, then the goblin is not going to attempt it again. So in case of whipping, it's not so important, but if you have torture or execution, you would normally assume that setting this activity to that the game will take care of, retrying, and the game will kind of remember that that's what you wanted to do, and not if that creature for some reason can't do that at this given moment, not just cancel the task and move on. So the reason that this is happening is, I'll show you in a moment. Every activity has some kind of duration. for example, if, I don't know, training, if you order the creature to train, it will go to this default setting of training for 500 turns plus minus some given random value, or let's say preaching always takes 300 turns and so on. But some activities don't have a duration, so they only consist of one task. So the game assigns that task to the creature, and then the activity is set to idle. Well, tasks and activities are two different things. So activity is something that's kind of ongoing, and it doesn't have any information about what to do. It's just, okay, now I'm training. And the task is a specific thing that the creature executes. It's a specific order of moves, right? Like navigate there to the training dummy and train and so on. So when you order whipping or torture, the game assigns that task, but sets the activity back to idle immediately. That's how it's implemented, and it kind of works usually unless the task is cancelled for some reason. So I think the way to implement this is to not have for every activity to have some kind of duration. Let's say by default 300. So I'm not going to return none here. I'm going to return I'm gonna set that to 300, and then when I have that specific task, then that task, when it's successful, should cancel the activity, should set it back to idle. So because the task knows when it's successful, right? Because it's successful when it executes the final command that it was supposed to do. So let's say the creature ties itself to the whipping post, and then ideally it would set the activity back to idle at that point. Well, actually, it's still it's still being whipped, right? So yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's harder than I thought. Because the task for being whipped is go find a whipping post, tie yourself to it, and then that's it, right? Like the game takes care of the other creature doing the whipping. So both the activity and the task are done at this point. But on the other hand, it would be nice while the creature is being whipped that it would still be nice that you saw the activity of being whipped here, right? So I would need to find a piece of code that's like the final state of success, where it could set the activity to idle. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. So string effect, tied up. You break free. So I could set the activity to idle right here. Yeah, so this is also getting a bit complicated. I thought this would be a bit easier when I was planning this. Okay. So tied up, I think tied up is used both for or it's actually tied up being applied. Okay, built-in usage ID tie up. Okay, here we go. Add effects tie up. Yeah, that's so that's being used by the whipping post and by gallows and by torture table. So doesn't that cover all the activities that needed that fix? Copulation, yeah, copulation is another one. So whipping, torture, confession is also another one. So we're gonna have whipping, torture, and what? Whipping, execution. Why isn't execution here? Be executed. Okay, be executed. Execution works anyway, right? I think so. Because the creature is killed by the end of it anyway, so it's like you don't need to set the activity to idle. Yeah, okay, so we have these two covered. Let's see if that's true. Uh-oh. The game crashed again. What was that? Okay, Goblin Warrior goes for a walk. Now Goblin Warrior is going to be whipped. Let's see if it... Okay. Okay, crashed again. I think there's something going on with the double click still. Goblin Warrior goes for a walk. Goblin Warrior is going to be whipped. Oh look, there you go. Activity being whipped. Oh, crashed again. All right. Oh, this wasn't supposed to be like this here. Okay, still being whipped. And still being whipped by whom? By imps. I think the keeper also whipped him once. Just for a good measure. Okay, now the activity is idle. Okay, so it didn't work. For some reason the activity was got set back to idle by something. I don't know. I think if I'm fixing this, I want to do it properly. So let's save and try to set a breakpoint. I want this to work perfectly. Okay, let's set a breakpoint to set menu activity. Okay, so he gets the idle activity because he is done with his task, and even though he's tied up, the game considers that, well, that the game assumes that he's ready to pick up a new task, right? But then he can't because he's tied up. So the game is like, okay, so you're gonna be idle now. Is activity good? Is activity good assuming have tasks? Unfortunately, this part of the code is quite tricky. Like, it's super easy to add to make some kind of bug here. So I think if the creature is tied up, we don't really have to look for new activities for it. So get move. I mean, it's not gonna, well, it can move, but let's see. Creature is tied up. It could equip items. It could do a fighter move. It could, I don't know if they can throw a potion or something like that. Follow team leader, not priority task, go to alarm, normal task, new equipment tasks. So I think a bunch of these alternatives are not gonna work anyway when the creature is tied up, but they will set the activity back to idle, so we can just not do them. Okay, so maybe let's try like this. If creature has restricted movement, don't do any move. Okay. I guess we have to wait until he gets his whipping, and then we can give it another try. Oh, he can't get whipped because he's already happy. Why would you want to get whipped if you're already happy? There's no point. Okay, now he's not happy anymore. Let's have him get whipped. Okay, he's tied up. And he's getting whipped. Activity is still being whipped. That's perfect. Alright. Stopped being tied up, and now his activity is back to idle. So we fixed it for whipping and torture. Now confession. So this is a little bit different because it's a more complex task than just, applying, using one piece of furniture. But this is, we can I think torture is gonna work because it's almost exactly the same as whipping. We could add a special kind of task. Maybe it already exists. And that sets the activity back to idle. Task idle. No, that's not that. Soft Monster is asking if we can assign a task for exploring at night and exploring at day to give temporary effect. I'm not sure what you mean by we. I think for modding it's not something that you can change, but of course I can do that, but not sure what kind of effect you are thinking about. So for confession, as you can see, this is a chain of a few tasks. It has to apply the, has to go to the confessional and then wait for 10 turns, which is kind of when the confession is taking place. So we can just add activity success after that. Let's recruit an armed brother. Now we need to get a confessional. Okay, armed brother is going for a walk. Now he decides, oh, he needs to have sinned. Can't get a confession if you're not a sinner. Oh, still doesn't work for some reason. Oh. This guy doesn't want to get a confession. I don't know what's going on. Oh, because he... Oh, okay. I need the bishop to be hearing confessions first. And now this guy can go get his confession. Okay, he goes... sits there for a bit. Okay, and goes back to training. So I seems like, oh right, because his sin got removed, and then he couldn't get another confession. So the game automatically changed his activity to idle and then got him to do something else. So I don't need to do anything else to handle it. To become sinful, you have to add this buff, sinned or mortal sinned. So you can use it using, you can do it using the permanent effect. Okay, so confession works. And now only copulation. So this means we need to get a prostitute for this church. Let's see. This guy is gonna go and get some sleep. Okay, I'm gonna save the game. Yeah, you can do a potion of sin, no problem. Permanent venial sin. The creature has sinned and is seeking forgiveness. Okay, so let's test the prostitute. Copulating is not available. Oh. Oh, another thing that came to my mind. So very often the game will gray out these activities if they're not available. It would be great to have a reason for it, because sometimes it's just driving me mad. No, I can't copulate right now. Why? No idea. Oh, I think, okay. I think I need to get a, because those guys are workers, so I need to get this guy to go to sleep. Now the prostitute can copulate, but let's see if the activity is cancelled immediately. No, it's not. Oh, right, because I set it, okay, because I set it to 300 turns already. So the way it's supposed to work, it's if you set it to copulate, then she will copulate only once. And right now, she will keep doing it. So... task copulate. We have a task called copulate. And now we just have to find, yeah, right here, uncopulated. We have a callback that calls into a function right here, and it's at this point it's super easy to set the activity. Of the prostitute back to idle. Okay, again, let's get this guy to go to sleep. She can do her copulation. Okay. Courtesan copulates with an armed brother. Mia has committed a mortal sin. Activity. Back to idle. Okay, perfect. So we have copulation fixed. Yeah, so I think I'm gonna consider this problem solved. Works pretty well, and I think it's a much better experience. For the player to actually see that I'm ordering this thing to happen, and they see in the interface that this thing is actually happening, and that kind of that was super confusing the way it was implemented. So I'm happy that I got around to doing this. Let's see what else we have here. How about something a bit easier? Mod loading order. No, sorry, not gonna happen today. I'm too tired at this point. Oh, this one is fun. I've received so many reports about double trouble being exploitable. So how about fixing this one? So let's see how double trouble even works. Pretty sure that this piece of logic is super old. I implemented it very early in Keeper's development, so I have no idea what it actually does here. Okay, so it goes through the items, creates a copy. Copy gets a timeout, which means it will disappear. So now what needs to happen? Consumables only work on the clone. So if the item has an effect, then we need to add a predicate for the effect to only work on the clone. Shouldn't be too hard, I think. Can a buff rotate your sprite? No, sorry, it can't rotate your sprite. It has to be hard-coded, but I think maybe sleeping should maybe rotate your sprite. I would need to play around with it. So the issue with these double trouble items is if you have some kind of I don't know, magic lamp or something, then I guess you can clone it. Not sure what, or if you have. I think the issue was that you could create arbitrary number of those clones, right? So, but I don't. Maybe Rarasik is still here and he can help me. Like, what was the actual procedure to exploit this spell? Oh, right, because double trouble is an effect that's tied to a piece of equipment, so you can use it repeatedly. So you don't even need to create so many of those clones. You just need to create them over and over again, and then make that clone give you the, I don't know, scroll of let's say, enchant weapon or something like that. So if I add a predicate there to only work on the clone, then that's gonna fix some of those items, but maybe not all of them. Oh yeah, and you can create more lamps, right? So does that? So it's gonna fix weapon enchantments. It's not gonna fix cloning lamps. So there will be like another piece of logic that checks if that's, I don't know. How is we need to check how magic lamp is implemented. Summon enemy genie. Okay, so that should work actually. So it means, well, no, it's not gonna work because basically Double Trouble would have to invalidate the magic lamp, I think. Yeah, I could also just not clone the items with effects, maybe. I don't know, it seems that maybe slightly less elegant than allowing only the clone to use it. Yeah, that's, I was wondering about Double Trouble recently, because you get it after you beat after what gives you Double Trouble? Beating a Doxy gives you a Double Trouble. So basically this is very end game, and you get this cool effect if you craft the armor. But then you don't really have anything to do with it. Like all your enemies are already destroyed. So maybe this could also be an opportunity to maybe rethink. Well, maybe Double Trouble could be obtained somewhere else, because it's a really cool thing to do, right? It's like it would be nice if you could actually use it for something useful, like if it makes a difference in your game, right? But it still should be a glyph for armor, because I think it makes sense to have it be a repeated effect, like a spell or something, not a one-time effect. So if you're gonna be repeating it, then we may need to make sure that the cloned items can't be abused. Yeah, I think Double Trouble is like, it's cool, and it's a strong spell, but it's like, it depends on how strong you are, right? So whether you get it early in the game or super late in the game, it doesn't make that much of a difference. It's not like, it's not game breaking if you like I don't know, a different super strong item. So I think it's fine to use it as a prize for something kind of random, like some hidden prize. So there are a few locations where I could put it, but I'll think about it later. I'm gonna try to. I think I'll. Yeah, maybe I shouldn't be overthinking it. Okay, get effects. If the item has an effect, then you can't clone it. And that's it. Let's keep it simple. Okay, let's get this guy. We have a magic lamp and maybe a scroll of damage. Yeah, I mean, if you're using Double Trouble duplication to fix some kind of game balance issue, then I should probably fix that game balance issue, right? I mean, it's it's gonna clone Black Dragon armor because it doesn't have an effect. Effect is only stuff that you can apply right here. So, you can apply these books. Nothing happens. Oh, you can read. Oh, okay, interesting. You can read a liturgical book. Doesn't matter. You can apply the scroll. Okay, Double Trouble. And this guy kept his equipment, didn't get all the other stuff, so it's working. Yeah, I mean, effects, the thing you were thinking about was a buff or a lasting effect. So you are asking about limb regrowth. Which scenario do you need that potion a lot? Like for which keeper and which minions? So I don't know, we can think about the limb regrowth if you're interested in that. Yes, so for Necromancer, it's done using coffins, and I also fixed the issue where the skeleton wolves and the dragon weren't getting it because they slept in stables. So these guys, I changed it so that they sleep in coffins again. So that's fixed, and I don't know which other keepers have this issue, because to be honest, when I play, I don't really need that potion a lot. So let me know, and we can think about it. And it just feels kind of lame that you would be able to regrow all the limbs for all of your units, because it's kind of when I think about it, it should be like a serious issue, right? Oh no, he lost his arm. So, except for the undead, of course. So, like, it's when you add if I add somehow some easy way to obtain these potions, then would kind of remove the hard consequences of losing your arm. Right? It's slightly about realism, and slightly about kind of stuff. Like I want to have that feeling in the game where if stuff happens, it has consequences, and not like okay, something happens, we can fix everything. Yeah, I know it's not. Yeah, it's. But which limbs are you talking about? Because losing your arm isn't. Doesn't break the unit. You can still use it pretty well. So losing your head, usually you die, right? So the only one I can think of is losing your leg, because you have to crawl then. And I don't know if that happens a whole lot. Like, how often do you lose your leg with non-undead units? I don't remember the last time it happened to me. It happens a lot with undead and automatons, but those guys already have a remedy for that. And for living units, I think it's super, super rare. I don't know. I have to think about it. But head injury means you die. So unless you are undead, which means you can fix it in the coffin. And automatons can be repaired, so that's not an issue. And yeah, I don't know. I think it's at this point, after fixing the necromancer, I think this really isn't an issue anymore. But I'll keep an eye out for it. I think it's nice that, like, if your keeper loses both arms, I think it's really funny. And if you could just give him a potion, then it would kind of destroy the effect. So I don't know if I want to change this. Some kind of prosthesis, yeah, that could work probably, but that's a more serious topic. So what else? Okay, be able to smelt everything that is, for example, iron. Isn't it a thing already? Yeah. Okay, so it's 3 hours already. So how about doing it another time, and then I'll be more fresh and we will have more cool ideas. What do you think? Do you want to have a short recap of the stuff that got implemented? So first, weapon enchantment scrolls also work on ranged weapons and other weapons. Fixed issue with items falling into water right after being crafted. Cloned items with effects are not cloned in double trouble. And now we have stuff that I haven't committed yet. So we have the activities being still shown while the creature is still doing their task. We have the double click to select resource. Yeah, that's it. So 5 things. I think it was quite a productive session. Some of this stuff was a bit hard, so I'll have to work a little bit on it still, but we can already see that those were really good ideas. So thanks a lot for all the suggestions. If you feel strongly about something that I didn't fix, then yeah, we can do another session and then just bring it up again, and we can talk about it a little bit more. Or if I forgot about something or didn't read it, just feel free to bring it up or DM me on Discord. Then yeah, all right, great. So guys, thank you very much. I was pleasantly surprised that so many of you showed up. It was really cool. It really feels good that so many people are still interested in KeeperRL, even over a year and a half after the 1.0 release, and it gives me a lot of motivation to keep working on it. So yeah, so bye.